Thank you, Anuragji. First of all, I think I'd like to congratulate DP Singh ji, UGC, and I think the way the government has come forward and with all the initiatives that we are seeing coming in terms of supporting the higher educational institutions. So that has been really very positive in terms of a change that we have seen over the last few years in terms of how regulators have really become enablers, and they are the ones who are driving institutions for a big change that is actually needed. And I think the previous speakers also pointed out it's the challenging times, and I think we all have really come together to really see how we come out of this situation. Thank you, Anuragji, for inviting me and to be part of this panel. I think if I start my discussion, I think why are we talking about this future universities? I think why there is a need to talk about future universities. I think the prime reason, if we start, is the changing work environment that we are seeing. I think Mr. Raghav mentioned about the McKinsey report, which talked about technology really becoming a big disruptor, and that is true for any other industry. But I think that's more true for education also. And I think this whole COVID-19 challenge that we all are seeing, I think that's one moment which I think every educational institution has experienced in terms of that report that was always being thought of. And for ages, I think we have been talking about disruption. We have been talking about usage of online. We've been talking about more and more usage of blended formats in our education. But I think this behavioral change that we see now in the way we have been able to deliver, I think this particular time of last 1.5, 2 months, it has been a great learning for all of us. And we have seen the boundaries between industry and academia uh, blurring for some time. But I think if I look at one big thing, what we are looking at in the future university definitely is a point I think made by previous speaker also, that the industry focus and the industry involvement has to be much deeper and much greater in times to come. And the job and the employability aspect linked to it is obviously one big change that we would definitely need to bring in. And when we talk about the role of public universities, I think now is a time that we have to really look at continuous change, and we have to look at lifelong learning. We have to look at continuous learning, maybe co-learning with the industry and greater collaborations with them. Otherwise, I feel that in no time we would see that either students might opt out of university degree programs, and we already see a separate set of courses being delivered by specialized platforms which are more industry relevant, or which are more relevant to the current technologies which are being adapted by all. So I think that is something that I feel is a big change that we should see as universities, how we should be engaging with our learners, and how what change we should be bringing in with terms of deliverables, how we have been doing things in the past. And obviously this learning has been good. I think the other bit that the question that was being pointed around autonomy and the flexibility in bringing in the blended model, I think that autonomy basically exists with the university system, and that has been there with us for quite some time. It's just about the behavioral change that I mentioned, maybe in terms of usage. Though the government has been always motivating and promoting, there has been a 20% cap that was put in by UGC of a usage of Swayam platform when it was announced, and it has excellent content in terms of the best faculty really who have pitched in terms of giving them support, the institutions, whoever needs it. But I think one big challenge been seeing in our country has been the affiliating system, which obviously has been a big challenge for institutions, since they are driven by academic benchmarks of the parent universities with whom they are affiliated with. I think for them, bringing in these changes and bringing in these collaborations have always been a problem. So I think in the new education policy also, we have been talking about giving greater autonomy, looking at affiliating institutions becoming autonomous institutions. So I think once that happens, I personally feel we will be in for a big change that is actually needed in terms of universities having that flexibility and that kind of change. Whatever they want to do, it's always there, and there has been no such restriction in doing anything new. When I talk about the aspect of technology and I think internationalization, that was another bit that I think the point that got raised. I think definitely all the universities are looking at global rankings, global accreditations, and we all have been trying to benchmark ourselves with the best of the world. And I think that's been the focus. And obviously, the time, the way we think is look at things about global competition and the way the boundaries don't exist now. And with this challenge of today, maybe you don't know what next is going to emerge. But I think I believe that universities are going to stay, and the teachers' role is shall be paramount. Their importance is going to stay. Their role in community, their role in society, whether the role in terms of one point that came in with respect to the startups and being able to help build the whole community of innovators. I think all those things are going to stay, and but the roles and the responsibility will change for sure. That's what I would like to. I think change is something that is there in everybody's life. This whole pandemic has changed our outlook towards this whole online. I don't think, if I talk about our system, today we have around 28,000 students who have adapted this online learning platform, and around like 7, 8,000 faculty members who have really adapted to this change. Maybe if I look at the similar situation in a normal circumstances happening, and I try to push this thing in my own system, it wouldn't have worked like this. So I think, obviously, in terms of the situation, whenever something new comes in or new challenge comes in, it's about the human mind and about personally how you take it up, whether you take it as a challenge or you take it as an opportunity. So I personally feel like any change that comes in your life, it's important in a way that you should take the positive side of it rather than maybe there might be some challenges. Obviously there have been talks about why because in K-12 also the same thing is happening. So why young kids have been exposed to this kind of technology challenge and the screen times and all that. So anything that comes in, it obviously will have some side challenges in terms of how the acceptance comes, and what are the other views on different aspects of its implementation. So I think that is going to continue, but I think everybody should be receptive to any change that is desired, and we should take it as in a positive sense rather than looking at it as a problem or something like that. That's what I would